Hello, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to our Community Club Showcase. We've got the Baron Hero's Journey. I'm Roddy Sniper with Rexol, the Gamer Dad. We've got Alchemy doing the restreaming, and Pepita pushing buttons and tracking for us. And Rex. This week we are spotlighting one of our favorite heroes as we go into Bard mode
I know,
here
right?
tonight.
Eddie, getting some spotlight time. How about
Yes,
that?
Edward, definitely one of the more challenging heroes in the Sea Hero flag here in Free Enterprise because, unfortunately, we love our Bard, but he does not get much help as far as stats and particularly that max HP. So he is relatively quick. He throws off agility anchoring. So these runners are going to have to manage a lot of different things at once and build a party around him with the permajoin flag on. So making
Yeah,
hard decisions as they go.
that's probably the hardest part. His agility speeds up rather quickly for the lack of HP he gets, the lack of strength he gets. So even with stuff like the curse ring, it's gonna be tough to set your agility anchoring around him when it gets towards the later part of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be something that the runners will have to kind of keep in mind, particularly if they cannot get any way to slow him down. Um, the objectives, not necessarily the most challenging. It'll be a matter of finding the Twin Harp and the Sand Ruby and the Legend Sword and the Adamant, but defeating the Water Hag, defending Fabul, two relatively easy objectives, and for the most in most cases for as far as the Water Hag. But the real curveball to me is the fact that we have our no experience flag on. So enemies like from Sirens or traditional giant Babel grinds will not give us experience. So, Rex, our runners are going to have to figure out where to get their experience.
Yeah, that's going to be something we'll have to rely heavily on their monster in a boxes. So I will be interested to see how quickly they challenge themselves to take those out. But I'll turn it back over to you as we get this kicked off real quick.
Yep, we have two of our Baron Heroes Journey Club regulars, Stony and Tibultt, restreaming, and we have the Spoony Bard and our favorite old man Tella, and both runners are going to say, "Go wait in Mysidia," and we're going to see if we've got better options.
Yeah, so the see no free flag is not on, so they'll be able to pick up some free characters wherever they decide to go first. And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't see the Kano free flag on either, so they should be able to also pick one up in Bedward as well.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to figure out. They're gonna be able to figure out their party, piece things together. Wouldn't be surprised to see some early looting to figure out who they want to bring. And as you just saw, Naming Way letting us know that we do have a wacky flag in place here today, as we have the payable Golbez flag. Rex, are you care to talk a little bit about what the payable Golbez flag is?
Well, all I know, and I wanted to kind of set it up here for you, is that Golbez normally is only seen in the vanilla game as part of the Zeromus kind of end of the game type a cutscene. Him and Fusoya kind of do their thing, but he's never really played in the free enterprise environment because it didn't really have anything as far as stats stuff that put in the code. So I know that our development team has kind of fleshed that out for him to be playable with these wacky flag sets. So that's about all I'm aware of. Do you know anything else before we actually get to see him?
Uh, No, I think I may have misspoke. I didn't say playable Golbez. Don't get people's hopes up. That
Oh, look out!
this is a payable Golbez. So in
Table
other words, all
Golbez.
of the bosses we can bribe to go away. I
Oh,
think
look
if I
out!
remember correctly, it'll be 5 times their max HP. So like the Antlion spot with 1,000 HP, 5,000 gold tells them to go away. But you don't get the experience for that, so there is a little bit of give and take here.
Oh, interesting. Well, then my apologies. That's much better than a playable Golbez.
Well, don't tell the community that. I think they still have the summoning circles for playable Golbez one of these days.
Nice. All right, so we see Tibbled heading down into our watery pass here. See if he
Yeah,
can pick up some items.
and Stony here in Mysidia picking up two very strong characters in Rosa and Hallam, and also both these runners kind of showing off the treasure and shop flag sets we have S Wild on, so pretty much anything can be in shops if they're allowed in the seed. So we saw crystal swords and power shirts just, casually for sale in Mysidia. And some pretty strong gear here with the T Wildish Max Tier 6 flag, a defense sword, and the Watery Pass here.
It looks like Tibultt found Porum there in Watery Pass, so it looks like Stony will come across her in just a second.
Yep. Not sure if that's going to be the best the option that Tibultt takes, given having the Rosa in the party already. Wouldn't be. Oh, and yeah, Stony's got them too, so absolutely not gonna take another white mage with this setup most likely.
Yeah, with the permajoin flag, it's kind of difficult trying to make that decision right off the bat, because once you've already got one white mage, even if Porum would be better in the fact that she gets your Berserk, your Blink earlier, your Exit earlier, you're still stuck with sticking with Rosa because she's already in your party.
These runners have been going through Fast and Furious, and I believe that pan was off of the free key item off of the Edward and Toroya, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
So I like seeing those samurai arrows there. Edward, in particular, can make good use of the various bows and arrows that we get. It looks like we started off with an elven bow as well, which is very strong as far as accuracy and its ability to attack mage weaknesses. It's Kane's in bed, and Sid shows up for Tibultt. Those samurai arrows, probably the strongest arrows outside the Artemis arrows, and very nice to have early on. That'll help make up some power, because right now, not a lot of offense.
Not a lot of offense. We're going to see our first boss fight here shortly. Just doing a check here, that's a purple robe at the waterfall.
Tibultt looking for that water hag to get that objective, and knowing that there's some form of Mylon there in the Watery Pass.
Next up's Ordeals, which would be good because we have a tele-in party, so make sure that he goes ahead and gets his spells.
I don't think either one took the tele.
Okay. I thought I had. I wrote that down incorrectly.
No worries. Looks like I think Stony did take the Palom and the Rosa from Mysidia. I don't think Tibultt has anybody in their party just yet, no.
Nope.
And Jan will not change that.
So the nice thing is we don't have a distinct flag on, so the odds of you seeing one of your favorite party members are still there.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense to kind of hang back and wait for some of those characters that are a little bit gonna be able to, you're not necessarily going to want to fill up your whole party just yet. Maybe leave a spot or two in case you get Edge or Cecil, or get that required Sand Ruby and get that Kane relatively early.
The one nice thing is the C buy flag is not on, so if they change their mind and decide want to pick some of those party members up later, they can go to Mysidia and pick them up.
Yeah, that's a great thing to point out, because that does let the runners take their time and kind of figure out their party that they want, and not just have to say, okay, I guess I'll work with this.
I guess this one. Now that being said, I know that there's a strategy used where you will pick up a late anchor, but you can't do that with Edward in your party. So do you see a play where you're trying to fill up your party very early so you can level them up early, or how do you see them filling their party from here? Because you don't have the XP buffs you can do later on with your sirens. So waiting till the last minute to pick up party members is probably not as advantageous.
That's a good question. I think that's going to depend a lot on the approach you want to take. Some people will just say, let's get the experience. Let's, Evelyn's a decent amount of experience to boost people up and go from there. As Tibultt staring wistfully at the crystal sword available in Mysidia.
I think he tried the Konami code on it, honestly. It almost worked.
Unfortunately, this is the version of Gradius, like the version of Gradius where it just blows up your ship.
Nice.
I personally, I would take what I think I need. That Rosa in particular is a great pickup early on, especially with the T Wildish flag set. You can get a heroine robe. She can equip a lot of the bows and arrows as well. As you see here, Stony taking advantage of the payable Golbez flag, telling Asura, have the night off.
Yeah, why don't you?
And getting the Legend Sword. Now again, not getting experience for that, so you're not gonna want to use that on the later bosses when you're trying to get that last little bit here. And it looks like Tibultt also did the same to get Cain off of Mount Hobbs, which I really think that's a strong character to pick up.
Yeah, Kane's going to be a strong character in game, especially if you have trouble finding either Sus or Edge until later in the seed, because again, your XP options are limited. I did not see. Do we get to see the Sparklers before they pay them off?
We do not.
No, we do not. Okay.
You have to make that decision before you take it, and it does look like Stony a little bit short on cash, so having to fight Paladin. Also taking Cain again. One other kind of benefit of Cain is that he will get faster than Edward. So you're not, in case you have issues where you don't get the agility anchoring that you'd like to have, you at least have a character that's fast enough to keep up with Edward and keep doing the damage on those final fights, because that can be quite the challenge later on.
And that's what's going to make Edge even that much more of a key character if we can find him earlier on in this seed, because he does ramp up quite fast as well.
Yeah, I would say that, obviously, I like to keep things simple, especially since I know where crystal swords are and we're going to get plenty of good loot to sell to potentially be able to buy one. Cecil just does the big gaudy damage numbers, but Edge is a very close runner-up in this flag set as far as how much I would want to have them around because of that speed.
Sure. Now, do you see, because I know we picked up Rosa on Tibullt's side, you mentioned the heroine robe already. Do you see a situation where we have two white mages so that we can have Rosa pick up, say, an Artibo or something like that, and speed herself up as well?
Not with the shops being wild, I don't think.
Okay.
Because you can get other ways of healing. You can get, you can potentially find Bacchus blinds in the shops to cast Berserk and get her.
As you speak about that.
There they are right there. Say their name and they appear. You can get the Cure 3s. You can get other things to help get your party stronger. Or get things going, take some of the pressure off of the single white mage. So I could see just letting her just go if you need her for offense.
Okay. So who do we have at the Fabul defense? This is one of our objectives.
Yeah, I like getting this out of the way early. It is a key item. It is a key item check.
That is a tough boss.
Yeah, fortunately we have the answer in Cain and also potentially aim with that Rosa, but Cain's jump with that defense sword is going to be doing most of it.
And we're going to first look at Baron 1, which is also a purple robe.
Yeah, the other Mylon that, I don't think we're going to see because I figured that Tibultt was going to go pay them off so they could go do the looting here. Dwarf Axe and Charm Rod are very nice.
A white spear for Cain.
Yeah, not going to complain about that either. Hits the holy weaknesses and the flying weaknesses that the defense sword won't get. Poison Axe and a glass hat as well. That's handy because if I read my flags correctly, we have key items in. Do we have key items in? Oh no! Well, we're gonna want to go fight those Eblet monster boxes regardless because we need the experience from them.
Correct. Yeah, our key items are K main, K summon.
That's right. That's right. I'm getting confused
Yep,
with other flags that's running around right now at the moment.
of course. Is that because you're part of the Discord community? Is that
I
why?
am a part of the Free Enterprise Discord. And you
And
can
how
be
would someone?
too.
Who would I was gonna say? How would someone join that?
Well, you could just click the link that our Restream Alchemy has put in there. You can learn more about the game and also participate in the various clubs such as the Baron Heroes Journey, and also potentially participate in some testing of new and exciting flag sets the community is working on.
Perfect. Well, we got the magma key from Fabul, as well as a boomerang for when we do hopefully find that edge.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent for Stony to find. I would not be surprised to see them go underground quickly. Does look like gonna get that free key item finally. Get that pan, which is going to be very welcome. Well, we'll be finishing things off here in Baron Castle.
We have a mom bomb. Ah, we can't buy him off this time though.
Yeah, a little short on cash, and that's going to be a challenge for this party here, for this the low-level party here.
Yeah, I think our
Alchemy
max.
pointed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Alchemy did point out earlier we do have a meta objective, as we normally do here in the Baron Heroes Journey, and that will be to utilize Edward's hide strategy on several bosses, on some of our on at least one of our bosses here that he can turn the tide with. I don't believe the mom bombs explode is one of those, is it?
I don't believe so. I think if I remember correctly, it's going to be your plague. It's going to be your evil wall. It's going to be. I think Zeromus is technically one of those. Odin. And yeah, DKC is the other one. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Alchemy, for clarifying on that.
Yeah, if Tibullt's able to pull this fight off, this is a master class in how to defeat Mom Bomb with nobody over 190 hit points.
Yeah, definitely. The benefit is that we've had a lot of. This fight is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
The benefit is that we have found some very good gear. I don't know if Tibultt. I think Tibultt found a glass hat somewhere.
Yeah, glass hat was found.
Which is gonna help. That's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
Ooh.
Do we
The
have
good
some
news
bad
is
items
he's
behind?
surviving, but now going to be staring down 6 bombs.
We do have Stardust behind, so as long as he stays. Oh!
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Because that
It
Stardust would
is.
probably got through the rest of the fight.
You're correct there. That would have likely been enough damage. Unfortunately, Kane being in the front row, Kane being in the front row is taking the full force of those attacks from the bombs rather than the damage reduction. If may have had a better outcome had Kane been protected a little bit differently, but unfortunately, you know, doing a very good job of getting that far. But yeah,
We see Tibble stocking up on cash now. We obviously will think we're going to buy our way through that one now. We gave it a good old college try.
Yeah, it's annoying to have to go through that cutscene again, but I agree.
Ooh, darkness crystal from the Sylph.
That pan is definitely panning out, I guess.
Hey, 2 points for the pun.
Yeah, it's a skill that I'm working on. Anyway, but yeah, no, Stony taking the opportunity here, using that that magma key to go through, try to get some of these free checks taken care of. Also, with like you pointed out earlier, the K summon flag is on, so maybe see what's here down in the King and Queen spot in the Fey March. So definitely a good good idea to prioritize this, in my opinion.
Lewis Tony just playing the odds game and saying, well, I'm going to open up these chests for some gear, hopefully. Even though we don't know where the monster box is. There's a spoon for Edward.
Unfortunately, this is the one Baron Heroes Journey flag set that Alchemy has put together as the club leader that does not
Aww.
have the spoon flag on because
That's...
we will go the fifth objective you see on the screen, have K'Kol Forge Legend Sword of the Adamant. Because this is a hero flag set, we are
correct.
going to get a super smith item, which is one of the super weapons from Final Fantasy IV Advance for Edward. And Edward will get some very, very strong equipment through this, so it's a pretty good trade-off.
Is it a fork instead of a spoon? That would be funny.
No, but you do get some of my personal favorites, like the Loki's loot and the Requiem harp.
Ah.
So definitely some good stuff there. Worth pointing out that Stony found a Stardust Rod going through the Cave of the Summoned Monsters. Very nice piece of equipment, especially since we are still very low level.
Definitely will cast Stardust in addition to the stats that it provides for your Black Mage.
Yeah, no, very powerful. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's a boss we can take.
Yep.
And not the turtle, but
No,
King and Queen
no.
Evelyn.
Yes, I was going to say, not the turtle. The turtle's going to be a, we're going to fade that as long as we can, I think. That's, but this is definitely a fight we can take right here.
Yeah, this is the King and Queen spot, not necessarily the most experience loaded fight, but will be a way to get these characters a little bit faster.
So now we see that there is another copy of Palom over there at Baron Castle.
Yep, Tibultt having the cash this time to pay off the Mom Bomb and get through the Baron Castle check.
As we see Stony allow the script to play instead of trying to take out the King and Queen.
Yeah, good knowledge of that there. Just going, I could try to fight through this, but it's going to take significantly longer, and I'm not going to do the damage, so let's just let it go.
There's your hook, which we really don't actually need in this flag set, now that we know where the magma key is, but Tibultt does not know where the magma key is.
Well, the upside is that it is another character check, so, and then if we do find the tails as well, but that character check might be why Tibultt is rushing there right now, because we don't have a bad party shaping up. But, like, be nice to have something fit the last member to fill out that party.
Vesoya would be nice. Cecil obviously is nice. And we've talked about Edge already numerous times. So definitely a opportunity here.
Plus the Evelyn Cave having a little bit better loot than other parts of the map because of the monster boxes that are available. So Tibultt not having been to the underground yet because he hasn't done the Fabul defense, so this is an opportunity to get that another opportunity to get some stronger stuff.
There's the monster box on Tibullt's side. Wish they're going to hit like a truck. Kane's got the glass helmet on, I believe, so...
Yeah, I believe you are correct, with only taking the 1 damage, so... Gonna stop the Stalemen. Good use of one of those hourglasses. Going to use the Ice Brand, which also hits one of the Stalemen's weaknesses, as Stony going up and checking the 2 checks with the Pan Bonk.
Tower key for Sheila 1. And rat tail for Sheila 2.
So another use for that hook. Going to be able to turn in that rat tail once Stony does Baron. Question in chat: does the glass hat also protect against the on-hit status effects like the sleep the Staleman can inflict? I don't believe so, and Tibultt definitely rewarded for taking that box, though. That's an Avenger.
That is quite the sword to get at that.
Yeah. Kane's, generally considered Kane's best weapon. Yeah, Rex, what makes the Avenger just so exciting for runners to see in these situations?
Well, the Avenger is automatically berserking your character, but there's also a glitch involved with the Avenger that you may use, especially with that white spear that Kane happens to have. Is if you change to the Avenger in the middle of a fight, it will retain the stats of the weapon it is replacing. So, for example, I see we have an Ogre Axe. Guess what's in the Eblin Monster boxes? 3 ogres.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a free berserk cast. It hits fairly hard. It's also a boost to strength and agility. So very very powerful piece of equipment. Great for that is going to make an early difference for Tibultt, even though Stony has the extra experience from clearing out the King Queen Evelyn in the Thay March.
Little Titan being used over there through the Grimoire for Stony. At the Baron End fight 1.
Very, very good roll on that. Power shirt for Tibultt as well. That's another 10 power on Kane.
Yeah. Your poor man's adamant armor, since there's no adamant armor in this seed.
Yeah. Doesn't at least gets you the offensive, most of the offensive benefits of it, which when you've got a very angry dragoon just swinging a giant sword, that's what you want. Yeah, we definitely have two different approaches here. Tibultt taking time, getting gear, not getting the experience because he's been paying off the bosses. But I think that I think it might tip towards Tibullt's favor down the road because of the equipment advantage that he's amassing.
I did not check. I did not see what was the item there from the Baron fight. It was
Gold apple, I believe.
Gold apple. What a steal! Definitely something you want to see, right?
Hey, they sell for a decent amount of money, and the other upside is that you can hopefully help deal with Edward's glaring weakness of his max HP. So it's not the worst thing to have. It's not the best reward, but saves you 40,000 gold of buying him in the Dwarf Castle shop.
It's true. And we see Kane taking advantage of the Avenger personating the Ogre Axe. We did see one life glitch on there as well. There's some crystal rings and bandanas there in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, that's
lots of health.
That's one of the fun things about this flag set is you have that trade-off of you're going to get a lot of money even with the sell quarter flag that's on, which reduces the amount of money you'd make by half for selling things, but you're still getting a lot of money based on the stuff, the stuff that's available. But do you use it to speed up boss fights and avoid them, or do you use them for the equipment? It's kind of a fun little trade-off that's been implemented in this flag set.
This Tibultt taking the rest of Eblin Castle. And we get to see who's hiding behind Dwarf Castle. That's a red robe. Do we know what that means? That is our dark imps.
No, no. Actually, I think we saw the Dark Imps
Oh,
briefly
that's
on
right.
Stony's side in Mist Cave. Yeah, that's going to
That's
be.
true.
That is the fake
Elements
out
fight.
there. Is we've got the elements.
Now, do we know the reason why that's a red robe for elements?
I don't exactly know. I'm assuming that it's just it's a palette limitation that they have with the
Yes, I
game.
believe it has. Yeah, I believe it has to do with the fact that you only have so many purple robes. So because you have to have the purple robe again for the third time for the elements, they have to use a different color. So they use red. So that is a fake out.
Either that or someone really messed up when they were doing the laundry.
Could be. There's an Artie bow there on Tibullt's
Artemis
side.
bow, and that was a crystal sword as well from the last monster box there. So I can definitely see Tibultt taking his time and waiting for a Cecil to fill out that last party spot.
Is this game even randomized?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, just checking, because we got Iridian there at Dwarf Castle along with the Golbez.
You know,
I'm confused.
it's been, fairly randomized.
I thought this was a randomizer.
Yeah, it's fine,
And it looks like
A
Tibullt's
little bit of vanilla never hurt anybody.
Tibullt's going to knock out the last of the monster boxes here on Eblin Castle on our right.
Yep, making good use of those hourglass ones he picked up to make life a little bit easier.
Assassin Dagger.
Again, Tibultt not taking still doesn't have the underground axe, the magma key that Stony has from doing Fabul defense. Looks like they're heading in that general direction right now. Might be deciding to fill out that party though. Nope, just doing some shopping right for the moment.
Yep. Rose has got a Starveil going on to hopefully prevent the wipe now on Stony's side. Now the thing about the Sea Hero flag is our wonderful DJ, Edward, will still get experience, though he is laying on the ground.
Yeah, keeps people from using the hero as treating them like an agility anchor and just keeping them down the entire seed. So very nice way of avoiding runners from just completely disrespecting the heroes of the seed. But Stony is through Golbez. Fortunately, not a lot of magic power at that spot, so pretty survivable. I think most of those spells were missing missing Palom.
Yep. Tibult's going to make its way all the way up to the top Ordeals, which we haven't seen yet, because Stony defeated Ordeals.
This could be interesting if there's something here.
Yeah, because I mean we've got 22 checks, so we've got one check up here. That's an evil wall.
Yeah, is going to take this fight because even though he's got the money, yeah, unfortunately not going to be able to hit that meta objective with that Kane going fast of hiding Edward and letting the evil wall take care of itself. Probably not the worst idea because that would take a long time with the physical attack at this spot. So a good call there.
Dolls at Ordeals 2. As we see Stony. Twin Harp. Did I miss where that was located? Was that what we found in Dwarf Castle?
Most likely. seems so. 'Cause I think that's the only thing. That's the only thing that Stoney's done that we haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So, uh, good to get the objective in our tracker Pepita confirming that. Thank you.
But no warp glitch, huh?
No warp glitch. Um,
One in the sea, but warp was
unfortunately,
not used.
but
Yeah. Easy work with the dolls. So now with the Sea Hero flag, what makes the mirror room special there, Roddy?
well, Edward gets to fight his reflection by himself. So rather than being joined by the rest of the party, much like Cecil, will have to go and confront the boss here on his own. Which, fortunately, Tybalt's got the equipment to make a lot easier. This can be very tricky depending on the boss and the character. We do get the Demas, which isn't going to matter for an extra cannon check, but an Earth Crystal as well. And Tibultt just bribing Edward's inner turmoil and conflict away, and saying, we'll deal with that another time.
Well, Stoney's about to find out what our hero is going to play for this seed, so shall we take a listen?
Yeah, Shaq usually gets pretty angry if we don't, so we'll let DJ Spoony B play his theme for the day.
All right. So while that was going on, Tibalt took advantage of having the Earth Crystal and went to the Toria Treasury on his way to Zot. I saw a defense sword, a elven bow, and then Bahamut, which we don't have already, but that's some chunk of change. Then it looks like we have the adamant stone from Cave Magnus on Sony's side.
Yeah, Stony following the adage, do your objectives, and getting rewarded, getting a chance to light up the lamp a little bit again with another objective done, and gonna probably go and cash that in very quickly.
Yep, so that gives Stony 2 objectives now. He's got the Breaking the Dark Elf spell, defending Fabul, and half of the 5th one, which is Forging Legend Sword.
I think both runners got that early legend sword off of Antlion Cave, so yeah, gonna go cash that in and go see what we get here as Tibalt taking on Bahamut. Should be able to make short work of that.
Are we going to loot the old man's bookshelf?
It's just poor form not
We
to.
are. Nice ninja hat there at Kokel's shop there. Then we did get Requiem.
Yeah, so the Requiem harp, a little bit of agility anchoring, which, that -5 agility on Edward is nice to have, because anything to help because the curse ring alone really isn't enough to truly anchor him. So very nice to have it, and it is also very powerful as well on its own. So, very good piece of equipment to find.
That gives Stony number 3 now. So he's just looking for the Sand Ruby and Water Hag. As look at those two guys at the top of Zod.
Yeah, that's that Earth Crystal definitely giving character choice. I think that Crystal Sword is that Crystal Sword saying Cecil gets the nod over
Cecil gets the
Edge.
nod, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or two things I want to point out that our restreamer pointed out. One is that the Requiem harp, it's not quite as strong as the Artemis bow combined with Artemis arrows for Edward, because there are the stat penalties attached to the Requiem harp beyond just the agility. So very welcome pull to get there. The other thing is that they did confirm that the glass hat does protect from the on-hit status effects. So they're a good way. The glass hat is a good way to avoid getting put to sleep by stale men. So good thing to keep in mind in
the
the
update
future.
there, Alchemy. Appreciate it. It looks like we now have exit on Rosa, since we're done with Zot, they're on Tibultt side. So we got some monster boxes being taken by Stony.
Yeah, Stony not doing the Evelyn Cave or castle checks. These monster boxes, if I remember correctly, are generally rated lower for their tier equipment here in lower Babel, because they're relatively easy fights to get through. You just need they don't present near the threat that the Evelyn Castle boxes do.
Yeah, you're correct. So the tier 7s in lower Babel are only 11% chance to get a tier 7, whereas in the Evelyn Castle, you've got a 30% chance to get one. The Wildish flags up.
Yeah, thank you. Do appreciate that, because I wasn't 100% sure there.
I only know that because that's the last thing I've studied. So
no, that's fine. That's one of the many disc. We always hype the Discord. There's also a very good Wikipedia wiki that the community has put together that has the weightings and various things. So when you hear us talk about flags and weightings and other things, you can go look that up like you have, and kind of get checked out there. Because it does help with your routing, it does help with these decisions. Stony not going to get that top end gear that Tibble has found from Evelyn Castle, but still getting getting a chance here at some pretty good stuff.
All right, so we have Odin at the top of the tower.
I think that meta objective is on Stony's mind.
Yes, it does look like that, doesn't it? So how does the meta objective work on this one there, Ruddy?
So Edward is known/notorious for his ability to hide during battles. In the vanilla game, it tends to kick on during the regular battles automatically, but you can also choose to do it and keep him nice and safe. That allows Edward to cheese a lot of very powerful and difficult bosses should we choose to, because once he's hidden, he doesn't take any damage. Odin, as we've seen, as some of you watching may have seen, Edward can hide and avoid the Zantetsuken attacks, and use a lightning item during at a specific time to activate a scripted kill in the fight. As you see here, everybody else taking a little bit of damage here from that, but Edward nice and safe. Other times, probably the most commonly used time is when Dark Knight Cecil is doing some very powerful dark waves, and Edward's just like, nope, I'm not dealing with that.
Oof. And Edward took a pretty hard hit there, so we don't get to see that taken care of.
But able to power through with the defense sword and the other equipment that Stony has found. Not having the Avenger.
There's your Sand Ruby too.
Yeah, that's another objective. That is, Stony is Water Hag from Go mode, whereas Tibultt not going to be happy to see that magma key on Fabul. I think that Pan is affecting his routing. A lot of runners will put off a early Pan or early Fabul defense, to avoid going back to the castle multiple times and just taking care of that. Doing it in a single go.
Sure. The only saving grace is if Water Hag happens to be at hook 1.
That would be huge. That would be a huge find for Tibultt here. Absolutely. And definitely a bit of a would definitely be a very lucky pull there, because normally you are saving time by by holding off on doing Fabul when you've got that early Pan, because travel time is wasted time. But obviously, in this instance, where you've got the magma key, it's going to be a big time loss the other direction.
So, monster in a box there at the upper Babel for Tibultt.
Yeah, get level 1. Very nicely getting life glitches.
Uh-huh.
Just letting Kane do the work. Cecil can cover and keep everybody up so they get the full benefit of it all. And
it looks like Cecil got 20 levels on that. So the item on Stony's side is the package.
So that is another interesting. You talked about the potential for the Water Hag being here in the hook route. That's another item that Water Hag could be hiding. So be curious to see if Stony gambles there, taking really the safer gamble here and going to Ordeals and gonna see the bosses here, since there's 3 of them up here.
Right. But we know he is not up there.
No, and we'll be interested to gonna have the decision once they get that Earth Crystal if they want to chase that, because again, 2 more bosses. Stony is in boss hunt mode, which you want to see as much as you can.
Another thing to note: Stony does have the water crystal. Has the darkness crystal as well. So let's not forget that Giant of Babel has 2 bosses as well.
Yeah, Giant of Babel. I would be considering going up and doing the. I would be considering just face checking the bosses on the moon at this point in time, since that
also
is
good play.
It's easier to check and see what's going on there versus the cutscenes involved here on Mount Ordeals, the cutscenes of the towers out the Earth Crystal. And since you don't have any key items on the moon bosses in this flag set, just really easy to face check and just say, okay, I'm good.
That plague at Ruby may be a little difficult. That's not who you want to see at Ruby. I mean, definitely could be worse, but that's not a pleasant sight.
No, but going to use the Kamikaze to deal Edward's current HP value and reset the count. Kane will be able to get a couple more swings off in that time period and should be through this pretty quickly.
Question is, are they? I was gonna say, are they too fast though? That was what I was worried about there. I mean, granted, they still would have had the 10 seconds on Edward, but yeah, that was close. Little star veil on Edward. I don't anticipate having to drop Edward again. That looks like what we might be trying to do here.
Well, you could, if Tibultt wanted to be a little bit, it'll probably be slower than just relying on the damage. But if Tibultt wanted to be a little bit cheeky, since he does have that veil on Edward, he could have another party member go down and bring them back up and reflect the count back on Plague, and then generally you have to slow the Plague down a couple times to get it to process, and then the Plague will take care of themselves with the count.
Luckily, we were able to down Plague without that, so.
Yeah, no, the timing, the agility is very tough sometimes. So definitely makes a lot more sense just to rely on your two melee fighters just chopping them down.
Right, so Stoney make his way back down Ordeals after the disappointing find. Tibultt's going to check and see that there's Odin at the top of the tower.
Tibultt doing a very good job getting through that Plague fight. Like you said, not an easy fight. The party cutting it close a few times, but doing a good job of managing that count and buying enough time to do the damage.
So is Tibultt going to go straight for the Pam check here?
Looks like it.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure after 50 minutes that Fabul Castle is sort of weighing a little bit on Tibullt's mind, knowing that he's had that objective there and that key item check that he's been putting off. Not going to be the happiest to see the magma key there, though. The upside of doing the hook route on this no XP flag set is that is a decent chunk of experience that Tibultt was able to get from that. So, he's going to be relying on Cecil and Kane for the damage in this party. It's not the worst thing to have that out. It's not the worst thing to get that extra experience now.
Now, Tibultt will pick up the rat tail when he finally does do the Sheila checks, which Tibultt has the hook. So that was obviously another item. I don't think it's going to be necessary. Unless it is the pass. Is the only time it may come into play. But
yeah, and I'll be honest, I would not be surprised to see these runners go to the moon, even if they get that, even if they find the water hag now, and take a boss or two on the moon to get fully powered up. That ribbon room experience is to me kind of calling out of, that is your grind right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gastoni's at well past 10 items at this point in time. Well, I was going to say well past, I think he's 11? If I can't count properly, 12?
Yeah,
Still can't count. 13.
Yeah, you are correct. You are quite correct. Well past it. So getting that double experience bonus for 10 key items definitely is going to help out quite a bit.
I see Stoney go up to Zod here.
Yeah, it makes sense. Stoney's still working with 4 party members, correct?
Yep. So, yeah, 4 party members. We're looking at two character checks and 2 boss checks, as well as a key item check.
Yeah, so, like you said, chance to fill out that party, gets exit on Rosa, like you mentioned earlier, and also another key item, which, Stoney's good on key items, but has everything that they need. Aside from that pass.
And Tybullt's going to play out the script as well on the King Queen Emblem fight.
Yeah, there's a good amount of
savvy veteran play.
Yeah, no, agree. There's a lot of even though he's got a lot more power than Stony did when Stony did this at near base levels, I think. It's just there's a lot of HP to chew through. It will be faster for Tibultt.
Tibultt rewarded with the crystal shield.
Yeah, not gonna try his luck with Kanatso. Don't blame him. It's a very fast spot. Even though he's got the equipment to get through that HP, it's still going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, I was curious to see if he would do it, only because he still needs the Sand Ruby, he still needs the Twin Harp, and he still needs Adamant Rock, and he was right there at a key item check. So it wouldn't have surprised me to see him take a shot at it. As you said before, when you're sitting at 54 minutes and you've got 0 objectives done, that clock moves a lot faster than it actually does.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would not have been surprised to see him take that fight. I think just looking at the situation and going, I would prefer to get I would prefer to get a little bit stronger, or just kind of hope that this is the last spot, because again, even with all that good stuff, it's not a guaranteed fight.
Oh, I forgot the Stony does not have the Crystal Sword because he did not do the Edlin Castle checks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think still making the right decision, because, well, Stony doesn't have the Crystal Sword. We have only found one good ninja sword for Edge in the Marasane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So kinda gonna go with what he has. Plus, Cecil does have the additional benefit of being able to cover party members, so help out quite a bit with the defensive side of the house. But the lack of power definitely starting to show the difference in power, I should say, definitely starting to show between these two runners.
Yeah, Stony is still playing a sprint approach. And Tibultt with all the powers, hoping that the time plays on his side, so that using the power that he has on his Cecil, he can hopefully knock out a lot of these objectives in succession and be able to make it back up. So now we do see the warp glitch being used on Tibultt's side, so we will get a check here for Sealed Cave. That's your pass.
Okay, so yeah, definitely not going to hurt Stony necessarily, especially if that water hag is on the moon. Which, I'm trying to think, I think the only spots we have not seen at the moment are the Luca key, the Luca key, the boss of the sealed cave, and the boss behind the package.
Yeah, that's what I've got on my notes as well. So I would imagine Tibblett's probably going to go do his pan checks real quick.
Yeah, finally get that the Fabul defense taken care of, get the magma key, and probably say a few things that we're glad that our runners are muted for at the moment.
Now, I don't really see him taking tower at this point in time, even though he'll have the tower key after this Sheila check. Because he knows one of the bosses is Odin. So he only gets one boss check now. The only reason I think he would even chance that is maybe because he thinks it may be worth getting the Sand Ruby or the Adamant Rock? Question mark.
Sorry, I had to move a cat away from the microphone.
That's
yeah,
uncalled for.
no,
Do not move cat.
Tibble has done a lot of the overworld. Having the Earth Crystal done, um, with the key items being behind or having Baron Castle done as well. Um, Kind of running out of spots for these key items, so I would not be surprised to see the tower being the ideal check, given the two key item checks, looking for that sand ruby and the adamant rock.
Speaking of Sand Ruby, there is objective number 4 for Stony. So Stony's now just going to need to face check to find a water hag, but to your point, I don't think it'd be just face checking. I think because of the need for experience and not having a way to use sirens or any other traditional grind methods, those boss checks would be very valuable, especially with more than 10 key items.
Yeah, agree there. I mean, could go and just check and go for the monster boxes on the Lunar subterranean as well. That'll also be a very nice chunk of experience, but the bosses are static, so it's easier to what what you're gonna get, where to go, versus the shuffled monster boxes, so you don't know where the fights you want to take are.
Till it looks like he's raising the whale.
Yeah, there is one lunar boss of sorts that is going to have a key item check, and that is the Cave Bahamut boss, since that is a summon spot. So might be peeking that. Or could just be looking at the fact that, hey, I've got really good gear. Let's just go looking for the water hag, get our experience, and then we'll just be able to mop up everything in the underground.
Is this maybe a thought that maybe the Kanatsu has one of his key items and he needs some experience?
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things where you sit there and you look at that and go, it's a strong enough possibility at this point in time that you you are concerned about it. You're not worried about it just yet, but you are concerned.
Stony following suit and raising the whale on his side as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this goes, because again, Stony does not have the powerful equipment that Tibullt has. Tibullt won't need it because going to be able to rely on those party members hitting for big numbers with the gear they have. Stony probably going to need to spend a little bit more time getting stronger.
Oh yeah, the palace room. But neither player has a spot in their party to pick him up, so we just get to wave as we walk by. No doubt Tibultt is heading right for the ribbon room.
Yeah, it makes sense that there's more bosses to fight down in that area, and yeah, Tibultt does have looks like 11 key items, so going to get that double experience bonus. So makes sense to hit the higher value targets of the ribbon room and the Masamune altar. So definitely like this play here. Be curious if Stony takes the same approach and maybe gets that water hag a little early.
I'm gonna check value first. We'll peek and see if the water hag's there. I don't dislike that play at all.
No, I agree. It's a boss that you can go and just see visually. You don't have to go all the way to the altar. Definitely agree that it's worth peeking that first, and going for the crystal sword altar first.
There's a save point over there. If you make your second save slot, you can always exit back out, or save scrum back out.
Yeah, no, I don't I don't necessarily dislike this. it's kind of just a guessing game of where that water hag is hiding. So
There's a blue robe, so Stoney's going right after it.
and Tibble
And we
finding
see-
the
I was
gauntlets.
going to
So
say, there's the gauntlets. We know
we,
Stoney's
we
a
have our
stormwater
answer.
hag. So we are in go mode.
So, yeah, this is a good find for Stoney there, getting all the objectives done. Tibultt has a lot of work to do to get caught up. Is on the clock, but has.
But let me ask you this question though: is Stoney in a position where he can take Zeromus?
Not particularly, unless Stoney is comfortable trying to do Edward strats on Zeromus with Edward as the anchor. And yeah, our restreamer pointing out, it kind of depends just on Stoney's comfort level and how he feels about this party and equipment. Could go and get a bunch of experience by fighting the giant. Doesn't have the pass, so is going to be heading down towards that ribbon room and those lunar bosses down there. Could make the decision to go and just take a few fights there. So it's going to depend a lot on how much faster Tibultt gets through these fights and gets what he needs, and then gets back down to the underground and starts clearing out those fights that Stoney's already completed.
So it looks like Stoney's choosing to forego the giant and take out. Although we don't know, Stoney may be hitting right for Z. I guess we'll see in a moment.
Yeah, I don't think Stoney has the. I don't think Stoney did the shopping to have everything for Z fight with this setup. Needs a bunch of needs star veils to reflect things. So likely going to be just going to get powered up a little bit before that. I don't think they'll be rushed to Z just yet. I could be wrong. I could have missed something, but I don't think Stoney has what they need for that just yet.
Because what is your win condition here if you do go take Z? How are you approaching this?
So, keeping in the theme of our hero of the flag set and our meta objective, really, since Stoney's party isn't at 1200 HP to utilize to survive the big bangs with any sort of real guarantee, you can take advantage of Edward's hide ability and avoid all the big bangs with Edward. A base level Edward can take on Zeromus, and by hiding and avoiding the big bang damage, and then reflecting counter nukes back onto Zeromus throughout the fight. It's long, it's tedious, it's about a 20-minute fight of perfect execution with no mistakes, but it is a very satisfying way to clear a scene.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which is why I say that I don't think that Stoney, unless I miss Stoney buying a bunch of star veils, I don't think he's going to have the ability, because the black holes of Zeromus keep wiping out the star veils. You have to constantly keep reapplying them throughout the fight.
Okay.
So
yeah, he's only got 10. If I just took a glance at his inventory there.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough for that. I don't think that's probably enough for 1200 strats, but not enough for trying to do things with Edward. And yeah, going to the ribbon room, gonna get this 200,000 experience.
And so both are facing the sisters here. A little charm on Cecil's not going to be a good time for Tibultt.
No, that's bad luck.
Oh, but he's still got to swing in on it. Yeah, so Rosa doing a job to hit him in the face. Hey, get back to your senses.
Oh no. And unfortunately, Rosa getting that off just before she gets berserked herself, so...
Yep.
but Rose still pitching with 300 damage, so not the worst thing.
Nope. And that will finish the fight for Tibultt. 333,000 experience.
Yeah, you know, every time that Sandy and Mindy are revived by Cindy, giving you another opportunity to get a little bit of extra experience.
Crystal sword and a power shirt. Could be more
That is
spines.
going to be very good for Stony. That will go a long way in making that Z fight a lot more viable at a little bit lower level.
That will be definitely a large for Stony, who's been missing out of the Crystal Sword this entire time.
Yeah, both Kane and Cecil using defense swords, which are pretty good swords.
Yep.
But
White Spear room.
Yeah, not going to bother with that.
Oh, that's right. Tibbult's still looking for the water hag.
Yeah, and that 300,000 experience from the Ribbon Room and the Magus Sisters will be more than enough for Tibultt for the rest of the seed. So, just going to be in face check mode most likely here on the moon.
So the Adamant Rock was at Cave Magnus. So he knows he still needs to do that one. The Sand Ruby was at the top of the tower. And Water Hag we know is at Cave Value. So.
Yeah, I would expect Tibultt to check that on the way back out. Probably going to go ahead and do that after checking the Marasame altar. Is taking the vanilla Ogopogo here at the Masamune altar, which is not a fun fight.
It's not a fun fight. This is a terrible fight. So, if I'm Tibultt, why am I taking the fight?
Probably
There's
just
no key item here.
I was probably just looking for that little extra bit of experience. Hopefully, hasn't gotten flag sets confused and is thinking that that there might be something here, but is keeping Cecil and Rosa up, which are going to be the two most important party members for that Z fight for Tibultt. As Cecil's going to be the big damage dealer, and Rosa is going to be the one tasked with keeping them going.
So we're trying to get Rosa to cure 4 here, which I believe she's already got. So maybe looking for white. Oh, Cecil goes down, so I have to reset out.
Yeah. And yeah,
just said that's enough. A tapping out. We're enough.
Yeah. Yeah, very unfortunate white because Tibultt is on the clock. Stony is in go mode, just getting through this and making their way through this Magus Sisters fight. Should be able to finish it off and get that experience here at the spot. Is gonna have to try and work to get some of these party members back up and going. A little bit low on that.
Yeah, they're definitely making Stony work. This wasn't a cheapo fight by a stretch of imagination.
No. Magus Sisters, the magic's pretty high here. Hits pretty hard, and a lot of HP to chew through, particularly on Cindy, so not an easy fight, especially since I don't think either of these runners have any rune axes or anything to take advantage of the mage weakness they have.
Tibultt checking out the Marasame altar and finds Antlion, which is not fun.
Yeah.
Especially with a party with that low HP.
Yeah, no, I don't blame Tibultt for just resetting out of that one. That's going to be way more frustration and effort than it's worth, even if there was a key item potentially there.
Now he is going to get a sigh of relief here because he's going to see this blue robe at value and realize he's already seen the gauntlet. So he will get a sigh of relief. And it's finally saying, finally something's going my way. I can finally knock one of these off. As Stony finishes up on the sisters. Handsomely rewarded.
Yeah, that's a great ribbon room for Stony. That's gonna go a long way, and that's gonna go a long way in giving them a lot of confidence to say, all right, let's go. Yeah, level 46 on Cecil. Rosa should have Cure 4. Yeah, so definitely ready to go.
30 agility on Edward. Not terrible. Just 28 is one of our cutoffs, correct?
Yeah, 28 is the point where you want to be if you are to try and get an anchor level for Zeromus and keep them at a reasonable speed. So wisely keeping that crystal ring on with the Requiem Heart, because the +5 and -5 agility bonuses kind of balance each other out.
So are we making our Z-Walk now?
This looks like a Z fight to me.
So what does that mean?
Well, it means that we are getting ready to take on our final boss, Zeromus. And Zeromus is big, is bad, is scary, and far too complicated to move anywhere else. And you see we get some flags in the chat going up here asking a very important question. Rex, what is that question we are asking?
That question is, whose butt are we kicking tonight?
Yes, that butt is not moving from this spot, but that butt will have one of several hundred custom sprites that our community has put together to get in the randomizer spirit, and we will be seeing, is it cute? If it's cute, if it's scary, if it wears a hat, we're going to find out whose butt we're kissing, whose butt we are kicking tonight. What's your favorite Z? What are Z sprites? What Z sprites do you like, Rex?
I love seeing Kefka show up. I really do. It's one of those tongue-in-cheek things where I just love seeing Kefka show up.
Chat calling out Edward Miss. Definitely like that one. That's always a fun one. Be very appropriate for the seed.
A bunny would be good too. That's correct.
You know, I'm the type of person that's always excited to see Bubsy-Miss myself.
Bubsy would be good. I saw a Zeromus HD the other day. Just a bigger version of Zeromus.
Like I said, there are so many sprites from all different fandoms, games, music, movies. It is very wild to see what these communities have come up with, and a handful of Sephiroth sprites as well.
All right, so who we got? Ooh.
Keeping in the holiday spirit with some nice spring pastels.
Right.
A vaporwave Zeromus as they're soaked in neon here.
All right, so let's see the strat go up here. The Silk Web going out, and that's going to trigger the counter nuke.
Yep. So,
Which
will, like you said, triggering that counter nuke. Counter nuke will set Zeromus's Big Bang, so it rolls at a lower spell power and only doing 1200 max damage.
The nuke on Cecil couldn't be a better target. He is the one with the highest HP.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit of pause for concern, but fortunately should survive. Yeah, especially since that Cure 4 does get off before the Big Bang. You see that Requiem Heart doing some work, 1400 damage on it for Edward. Not bad at all.
Edward said, "This is my seat very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to participate and help out if I can." Although he's taking a nap now, so I don't know what he's doing now.
And then that's the challenge of Edward as a character. Edward is not. There are no bad characters in Free Enterprise. Some that are more situational than others. Unfortunately, Edward's lack of max HP just makes him so hard to use in a Z fight, because even if you have all sorts of great gear on him, it's an HP check, and he just can't hang with that a lot of times.
So I'm assuming we're going to try and nerf Zeromus again because of the HP levels, correct?
Good chance. Yeah, holding action. Stony holding action. Going to be doing a direct virus cast. Since it's got a short cast time, it'll go off right away. Like you said, Rosa, the HP levels are pretty low on a lot of these characters, so definitely worth taking the time. That was a big Duke on Cecil there.
That rolled pretty high.
Yeah, unfortunately able to get that Cure 4 up on him to keep him going.
Maybe get another Cure on Cecil. I don't think he makes it if the nerf doesn't roll properly.
And I think Stony may have tipped because we saw the shake earlier, and we did not see a big bang soon enough. Stony wisely setting up Palom in the 5th slot here, because that will be the last spot that takes an action before the big bang. So he can utilize the timing of the Zerkers to make that nerf timing a little bit more reliable.
There's a
So
shake.
It's a very smart party set up there for this situation.
Yep. So this is going to be aimed to nerf the Big Bang, not be another shake.
So we are currently in phase 2. Zeromus did shake through, and that's not what you wanted to see.
Not ideal. Okay. Ooh. Not ideal.
Yeah, especially since Rosa's getting enough time to get that Cure 4 back on herself and get back up to snuff, so with those 3 Berserkers, it's going to be a little bit dicey to get healing back on these characters until the black hole hits and wipes it away. And yeah, no, that was unnerfed, though.
It wasn't unnerfed, but luckily Edward's the only one that saw zeros in the HP column.
Yeah, not as big a roll of a Big Bang could be. Big Bangs can hit for up to 2,600 HP, so getting lucky there, but that's the danger.
There's some rocks coming out. Uh-oh!
Oh. This is
Kane
is
zerked.
Yeah, this is going to be up to
there we go.
Getting through. Wow, there's the crack. There's the crumble. 27 HP on Kane.
Wow.
Tony. Wow. So what just happened was Zeromus' 3rd phase is the Meteo phase. Meteo is a AOE attack that does about 1,000 up to 1,000 damage. Stony didn't have a chance to heal up. Yeah, get your GGs in chat. That was a heck of a finish there for Stony. Just having enough HP on that Kane to survive. Beautiful, you feel good about that finish because it's just like that is a lot of good luck right there.
Right. And not to forget about Tibultt over here. Tibullt's in go mode now. Tibultt just got the Sand Ruby, so
yep. Yeah, no, just Tibultt was on the clock. Was trying to charge back that equipment advantage, but Stony,
welcome,
our winner here today here on Restream. GG Stony, joining us in the chat.
So how's that heart rate, Stony? We got some audio issues. Stony, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah, you're on mute right now. Might need a couple seconds to kind of catch your breath after that that Meteo. Oh.
Nope. Maybe we're trying to get those sorted out.
Take 2, Stony.
Wing and a miss. Tibullt's going to go forge his sword now, so
yeah,
they're starting to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, Tibultt going to be able to wrap up very quickly and take that pass and finish this seed off.
Yeah, I'll go from here to Kaipo to turn in the Sand Ruby, and then from there straight to Troy with a pass. So
we will try to get Stone. We'll try to get Stony squared away and have him join us in chat, because I'm sure they've got a lot to say about that. That was a very well run seed.
absolutely. This.
People getting the Requiem Harp. They're gonna be going through. And Stony, are you with us?
So as suspected, as we're waiting on Stony here, Tibult's going to head to Kaipo now to turn in that Sand Ruby and finish this third objective. Well, third one on the list, fifth one total. And we will see a totally different strat from Tibultt.
Yeah. Tibultt will very much has power. It will have a little bit more power overall because of the extra levels and experience, but should be in very good shape here.
There's our crystal. This is unfortunate because I really would like to hear what Stony was thinking about while those that Wombo combo came through.
Okay, I think it's
there we go.
Working
nice.
now.
Welcome. Hey, good to hear from you, Stony. Technical difficulties are always a thing, so glad we were able to work through them and get things squared away. GG.
Yeah, GG. How's that heart rate doing?
It is still pumping at about 100 miles a minute right now.
Your lucky number 27 now? Is that your lucky number?
I'm definitely gonna take it. When I felt that Meteor Faith coming in, I'm like, please don't hit everybody. Please don't hit everybody. And sure enough, it hit everybody. Luckily, Kane had just enough to get through it. I would have been very upset if he ended up with 1 HP at the end of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't get credit if you run out of HP after Zeromus goes down.
Oh gosh, that was intense.
So, talk us through how you felt about how the seed played out. Using Edward as a hero is definitely a challenge, especially with the permajoin flag as well.
Yeah, and at the beginning, I wasn't sure who exactly I wanted to invite into the party. I was looking at potential 1200 strats depending on what I saw in shops, and I don't recall ever seeing vampires in shops, so I kind of abandoned that idea. I didn't check every shop, but I found that defense sword early, and then I ended up with the cane, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can just brute force the seed with power and just deal with Eddie as the hero.
How excited were you to see the crystal sword and power shirt at the ribbon room?
Oh, that was probably the best case scenario, because if that's the case, I don't survive that Big Bang Meteo combination, and just Cecil putting up 6,500 damage per swing. It makes it a lot more seamless.
You followed the old idiom of do your objectives and got that magma key very, very early from the Fabul defense. What were your thoughts when you kind of got that, as far as, where am I going to go with this and how am I going to utilize it?
Kind of that tunnel vision mentality. I figured I'd check the Troya freebie, which ended up giving the pan, so that kind of gave me the initiative to run down Whack Yang, check the Feymarch freebie, and then come across the King Queen Evelyn at the King of Feymarch, which didn't give anything but a little bit of experience to kind of help Quack K get online and just help me get that extra power I need to get through some of the other checks. The one mistake I did make was going through Dwarf Castle before I had warp, but luckily that didn't affect me in the long run. I'm not sure exactly what was there.
The pass was that sealed cave.
Path was
Yep.
there, so it probably didn't save me. It probably wouldn't have saved me too much time since I decided I was going to hit that ribbon room for some experience, and so no harm, no foul.
What was the decision-making process on not picking up the Eblan Castle monster in the boxes?
I'm not exactly sure what my thought process was. I guess I found when I got the magma key, I just figured I'd go down underground, loot them down there, and just never thought to swing back towards it. I think I got 3 of the 4 on the way up Tower of Babel, and I don't think anything was too useful in those. So it just, I think what was it, max tier 6 on this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I wasn't expecting too much power coming out of any of the Mayobs there.
Yeah, I think in the Eblan Castle monster in the boxes we found a crystal sword was one of the big items that may have been beneficial.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess I don't understand the flag
Yeah,
as well as I thought I did.
Well, the max tier applies to untracked boxes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, learn something new every day.
But those defense swords that you did pick up actually helped out a ton because you had one on both Kane and Cecil, if I recall correctly, yeah?
Yeah, I don't remember where I got the second one from. I knew the first one came from, I think, one of the first chests in the Watery Path, so that helped. Ooh.
So honestly,
Sorry, my heart is still going.
Yeah,
That's
I was
okay.
going to say we're about ready to let you go and get you able to take a breath. Any last questions there, Roddy?
No, just GG. Very nicely done. That seed made very short work of it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all for running a restream as usual.
All right, take care. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Take care.
All right, so Tibultt is trying to knock out the last bit here. We're trying. Oh,
That's
didn't quite get
unfortunate.
for that last big bang hit, so we'll see a reset there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Zeromus, you always got to respect Zeromus, even if you've got a lot of good gear and good levels. You know, he finds a way. He finds a way to make your life miserable.
Yes, he does. So, Stony made a pretty good point, and it's also something that we want to talk about here. So, if you are new to the free enterprise randomizer world and you're trying to get involved with it, as you can tell, even our seasoned veteran runners get confused on some of our flags. It is something that's a big undertaking, but we don't want to shy anyone away from giving it a shot. So, if you are interested in joining the free enterprise community, there's a Discord is put into the chat right now. Please join up. We have the Newbies Corner to help our new players get involved. We've got our wiki, which has several quite well-written articles by our community, which can help explain some of these flags and get you involved in some easier flag sets. And then we have a whole bunch of different racing communities, both on the serious side and on the relaxed side, to help you enjoy the game in totally different formats.
Yeah, that's been hitting on two very impressive things about the free enterprise community. One is the willingness to teach and help people learn. You know, there is a lot to this randomizer that you have to know, both as far as vanilla Final Fantasy IV knowledge and the various quirks of the randomizer. And like you said, the Newbies Corner, some of the you've got the Tellus Trainees club that you're helping out with.
Mm-hmm.
So good ways of learning through that, and as well as the wiki. And also, the sheer number of options that are continuing to grow as the community the randomizer's gone to open source and allowed for some new creative ideas. There's a lot of different ways you can customize this game to have unique experiences, and the clubs really do hit on all of those.
Yeah, I think the best part about it is, as someone who was playing when the vanilla game was, new, you can play the vanilla game, hundreds of times over, and it's an enjoyable game. It's a great story. It's a lot of fun, especially if you have some nostalgia built into it. But what makes the free enterprise community so fantastic is, with all the different flags and flag sets that have been tested, tried, and true, it feels like a different game every time you play it, regardless if you have the same checks, the same bosses, the same characters. The game feels different, keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting, keeps it new. You get a flag set that has a objective win condition. You can run through it in 50 minutes. You get one like a couple of the ones we've seen that can run between 2 and 2.5 hours. It just depends on how it all falls. So it keeps it fresh and exciting every time you go out.
Absolutely, and there's some flags that we rarely see because of how challenging they are, such as the permadeath or permadeader flags that don't let you bring a character back if they fall if they're swooned after the battle. So you can really make this game as challenging or as much of a breeze as you'd like it to.
Yeah. And to that point, the Baron's Hero's Journey, which we're watching right now, Alchemy does a fantastic job changing up the flag sets week after week, and highlighting different heroes and taking different spins on the flag sets and having it feel like a totally different game. This hero, Edward Hero, is totally different than, saying, having a wide open seed and like one that was done a few weeks ago. It's totally different. Alchemy ties the lore into it. It's exciting. And that's just one of our many communities that really put their time and effort into making each one of your times out just a blast to play.
Yeah, no, one of the I've been a big fan of the Baron Heroes Journey Club since Alchemy started doing it. It's challenging at times, as you can see here. This flag set, Tibultt not having quite the same setup that Stony had to make the Z fight as safe and easy. That Zeromus is moving very, very quickly on Tibullt's side. It's very tough to keep up with, but the trying to learn and use the different heroes to their full effectiveness is a very important skill, especially if you want to get into some of our larger tournaments that have the hero flag on. Definitely a good club for learning how to utilize those heroes and their abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's a matter of understanding that regardless that this is a randomizer, which lends itself to speed racing and a racing community, that at the end of the day, our community wants you to enjoy the game in all facets, have fun doing it, learn something new every day, make some good new friends, and enjoy yourself. So we still need to rally behind Tibultt here. Tibultt, we've all been, as a runner, all been in the situation where it just doesn't seem like that last hump is being crossed, and it can be absolutely frustrating. So let's rally behind Tibultt here, and hopefully we can get through the sea fight this time here.
Yeah, using the Artemis bow on Rosa, that is an additional a good chunk of agility to help speed her up. And don't know where I have not seen where Tibullt's Edward's agility is at. I don't know if he's at that 28 agility number that we talked about earlier. There are a few different, I want to say magic numbers, but there are a few different numbers that create a relative agility between your hero and Zeromus that you can set things off to make the fight more manageable. 28 being probably the most likely one that you're going to run into outside of in most flag sets, and you don't mind being a couple points of agility over it. You really feel bad being a couple points under it, because that means that Zeromus is going to be going very, very quickly. I'm a little concerned that Edward is at that 26 or 27 agility.
Yeah, a lot of the ins and outs of the game, because this game was based, 30 years ago. There's a lot of math involved, where you don't actually have to know the math, but that's what drives a lot of the different facets of the game, and the agility being a big piece of that. So that breakpoint of 28 is just because how the math works, in determining how fast the rest of your party and Zeromus are in relation to your anchor. Kane taking a hit before he gets healed back up there is unfortunate.
Yeah, no. Starting to get that damage out there, starting to get things moving a little bit. Did Tibultt not have a silk web?
No.
Okay, so that might be part of what we're seeing here, because Stony did have a silk web, which will cast 2 stacks of slow on any enemy. And that goes a long way in slowing the active time battle system down for any boss that we have to fight. The silk webs are a great item to have in your back pocket, especially if you're having a hard time getting turns in. So Stony being able to utilize that silk web, just making life a little bit easier.
That wasn't a friendly roll either. Yeah, the timing on that. Tibultt had Cure 4 cured up on Rosa, but the Big Bang went off before then, so...
Yeah, no, that's a very fast Zeromus, and that's tough to keep up with.
I'm wondering if...
Okay, that is a forfeit for Tibultt after some very, very, very game efforts and attempts here.
Yep.
GG to Tibultt.
Absolutely.
Get your GGs in chat there.
We've all been there. In fact, I was there 3 days ago.
Oh yeah.
It's a very... And there's Tibultt. GG to you, Tibultt.
Yeah, GG.
Can you hear us there, Tibultt? Because I don't know if you're muted. We can't. There we go.
Yeah, physical mute.
No worries.
Sometimes the Z fight just doesn't break your way.
Yeah, we were just discussing that. It's just, there comes a point in time where just stuff just isn't clicking.
And it wasn't like I know it's possible. Like, it's just nothing was going my way. Nobody was dodging anything.
So
here's a 2K nuke to the face.
So I guess that brings up a good question for a lot of our viewers now. I know you're a veteran of this community. When you get a situation like that where you see everything's going against what you expect to happen, and it's just things are going badly, where's your mental mindset? How do you work through that?
Well, the thing is, you always got to make sure, at least for me, like, try something different. Just even if it's some minute little differences that, you don't want to go back into the same fight doing the exact same thing over and over again, thinking a different exact result's going to happen. Maybe change the battle speed, maybe change up the party order a little bit. Like, I was sitting there at 29 agility on Eddie without anything. I wanted him to be at 28. Didn't have the silk web, didn't have any of that, and so...
Well, let's talk about the rest of the seed there and the flag set and having Eddie as your hero. How did that feel as you went through the seed?
It wasn't bad. I mean, granted, I would have loved to have had a cursed ring, but having a fast hero doesn't really bother me that much. I started off not knowing anything about the black magic that is agility manipulation, so fast agility anchors really don't mean much to me because I've always played that way.
You all right? The move to fade Fabul.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of rivers on that one. Like, I had the pan, I'm like, I want to make one dip there. And then I saw the magma key. That did not feel good.
It's funny because I would imagine at that point in time, you're like, oh no, if I didn't find it and Stony did, that puts me in a behind spot. But oddly enough, because you had done the Eplin Castle, and you had a crystal sword for your Cecil, you actually were staying on par. You just hadn't made your checks yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at that point in time, the only thing that may have worked against you was Stony went to value first and saw that's where the water hag was, whereas you took a couple bosses on LST first. I think if that had played the other way around, it would have been, neck and neck there at the very end.
The problem is, when I went to the moon, I didn't exactly have the greatest of levels. Like, I got nearly 15, 17 levels off the Maga Sisters at D Lunar spot. So I didn't exactly have grandiose levels when I hit the moon. The reason I went down towards the 7 checks down moon was not only to check for bosses to see if it was water hag, but also experience. No EXPs turned on, so you're not going to get it from eggs. You're not going to get it from the coveted D-money grind. You're only going to get it from your monster in a boxes and your boss fights.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And of course, I'm thinking, all right, I'll take the Ogopogo, and then all of a sudden just start going sideways. Like, no, I guess I'll just get the experience off of the giant if I have to go there. And then I see Water Hag, like, well, what are my HP totals at right now?
Yep.
Yeah, that Lunar subterranean was not ideal for trying to get experience with Antlion and Ogopogo down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Plague Spot is not one that's grandiose for experience. Like, you're looking at, like, the D-Lunar and Masa Altar for experience.
Did Giant ever cross your mind?
Oh, Giant definitely crossed my mind. Like, if Water Hag wasn't exactly at K value, I was going to Giant next.
Okay.
And I was taking out Giant 1. But there were still
Yeah.
some nasty bosses left out in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I mentioned the no XP there. I was quite surprised neither you or Roddy went to Giant. I was thinking, well, is it one of those where they're just waiting to say, okay, there's a certain point where I'm going to go take it. If I don't reach that point, then fine. Because it can be a great source of XP, even with just having the 2 bosses there, not even doing any of the grind there.
Right, but you look at something like Baigan at 65k, or CPU, which we hadn't seen CPU at the time, 65k
Right.
of CPU. That's going to be a slog to get through at low level. Doable, but
A slog,
how long
nonetheless.
do you want to spend?
Right.
Now, it's that balance that you have to make.
So Tibultt, I would like to congratulate you on your run today. I know it didn't pan out quite the way you wanted to. Definitely showed our community how to run through a big chunk of the seed with low levels. And I mean, at one point in time, you were taking on bosses where you had not even one character 200 HP. So definitely was impressive. The plague fight was fantastic. That was definitely a master class on how to take out plague with a low level party. So again, no, it didn't work out in your favor, but definitely was a masterful run nonetheless.
Thank you. Yeah, the Mom Bomb one, I thought I'd get through it, but I'm like, I was ready and waiting for Kane to actually get a turn to throw the Stardust, but yeah, Grey Bombs hit hard.
Yeah,
those
no,
are
we
definitely
had
scary.
yeah we had one. We're like, okay, if Kane would have been in the back row, would that have worked?
Back row with the glass hat, yes.
Yeah.
100% would
So,
have worked.
yeah, but you definitely showed off some absolute stellar technical play going through that seed there. So again, GG to you.
GG, and also very nice showing off how useful payable Golbez is, because you got through a lot of bosses very quickly with that.
Yeah, there's some fights you really don't want to take care of, like, Golbez, go away. I don't want to talk to you.
I don't want to see you.
But, very nicely run, Tibble. GG.
GG's, thank you.
Have yourself a great weekend, sir.
Yeah, you too, and thanks for doing the restream and the tracking and commentating. It's always a pleasure to put these on. Like, I've always loved the Baron Heroes Journey Club. Always hope it comes back for the next season and see what alchemy comes up in their wonderful little brain there. With all the different flag sets and meta objectives.
All right. Well, take care. Thank you once
GG,
again.
Tibble.
Yep,
Care.
have a good one.
All right, Roddy. Any parting tidbits, parting wisdom nuggets?
You know, yeah, runners, they did excellently, saw two very different approaches, and you know, Stoney's worked out a little bit better. Stoney's worked out a little bit better today, so you know, very good, very nicely run. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you again to Pepita for the tracking. Alchemy, thank you for running the buttons in the background and restreaming for us. The flag set was absolutely fantastic. And thank you also to all of our wonderful fans who joined us today to watch this matchup between Stony and Tibultt as part of the Baron's Heroes Journey restream here on the Community Club Showcase for Free Enterprise. So on behalf of Rowdy Sniper, I am Rexel the Gamer Dad, and we will see you once again on the Free Enterprise. Have a good day.